All right, hi. So this is going to be a short walkthrough of how to use Dymo, which is a little application I wrote for labeling images. And so it'll help us to create a more powerful machine learning algorithm so that we can better detect houses and better classify them as thatch or iron. And in so doing, hopefully help give directly better target impoverished people in Western Kenya. So let's start out. The first thing you have to know is that um, each URL on Dymo needs to be unique, and Shuba should be giving you a URL, so you shouldn't really worry about that. But the reason we're doing that is so we can keep track of how each user is labeling the images. So here we'll go to my name. And the interface is pretty simple. Here you see your username. Here you see the image that you're looking at, and this is actually a link. So if you wanted to, you could open it up in a new link and zoom in or zoom out, get a better sense of that image. Um, we also have an indication of how many images are left. This is global, so it's not just the images you're responsible for, it's all of the images. Another thing to point out, and I mentioned this in the walkthrough yesterday, is that each of these images have iron or grass in the name. Now, the reason that is because Give Directly initially uses these images to classify a single roof in the image, usually the one right towards the middle. And this is because they went to this house and they interviewed the people, and then they were verifying what type of roof it was by using the satellite imagery. So if you see iron in the title, you should be pretty sure, fairly certain, that there will be an iron roof. Okay, so now this first image is a good example, and because very clearly there is an iron roof right in the middle. If we look in this other tab, we can zoom in and we see this bright white spot. But we also see here's another little house over here. And we want to make sure to get all of the huts in every images. So the way we start is we're going to shift click on the iron roof, and then we're going to just normal click on the thatch roof, and when we're done we just press submit. And now we're on to another image. Now this one is also a good example because we see that yes, there's iron in the title, but there's not that sort of bright white that we saw in the last image. So it's likely that this is our iron roof. We can tell because it's more gray. So we're going to go ahead and we'll look at this image a little bit closer so you get a sense. Um, we see that's probably the iron roof, but there's a bunch of little thatch buildings around here. We want to make sure we get all of those as well. So let's go ahead and label this iron first, and then we'll get all of these little guys here. All right, and when you're done, you just go ahead and submit. Great, so now this is an example of an image taken during the dry season. Already see it's a lot harder to sort of tell which is which. But if we take a closer look at this image, we can see this is very clearly an iron roof. It's more silvery, it's got a little bit of shine, and here are our thatch roofs. So let's go ahead and label that image. And looks like there's one down there too. So already you're getting a sense of how we do this. Here's another good example. This one says grass in the title, but there are very clearly buildings up here, larger buildings with iron roofs. It's also a bit of a hazier image, so it's a good one to open up in a new tab and zoom in. So we see, some grass roofs, a couple iron roofs up here, and it should be fairly simple to label that. So let's go iron, 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 and then these little grass huts down here. Let's check that image again. Looks like there are some down here in the corner. right down in there. Let's get those two. Now, one thing to keep in mind is as you're labeling things, you might make a mistake. Say you accidentally hit something over here, and those are clearly not images. So just go ahead and press clear, and you can start over. This is a very clear one here. Those are iron. These ones are thatch. And you sort of start to get a sense of it. One thing to look out for is if you try to zoom in on this image and then click, um, and then zoom back out. Actually, that seemed to work that time. But in general, don't zoom in on this image and click. If you do click, make sure that you have zoom back out. Another thing to keep in mind is if you scroll over or down at all, the points won't go in the right spot. So that's about it. If you guys have any questions, you can email me at brianabelson@gmail.com. And besides that, good luck.